Our main character always starts his day at 6 o'clock in the morning. After he washes himself, he leaves. Right after this guy starts his day, he goes for a run. He has an incredibly clear plan that he sticks to: 25 minutes of running and 15 minutes of rest. After this guy finishes his morning run, he definitely needs a can of coffee and cigarettes. But despite the fact that cigarettes are harmful to health, he believes that caffeine, sugar, and nicotine activate his brain. After our main hero has finished his run, he charges his body with sugar and nicotine. After he has done all this, he begins to study something. This is truly an ideal life for preparing for exams. After a couple of moments, someone abruptly approaches our main character and asks him why he should retake the exam. Immediately after the guy hears that he was addressed, he turns and sees a girl carrying beer. Next, this blonde with very big eyes looking at our main character wishes him good morning. Apparently, this Sigma still finds it difficult to communicate with girls. Turning away, he greets the freshman Hanguk. Then this girl wonders how many times did this guy retake the exam. More like, maybe 3 times. While this girl sits down opposite our main character, he turns his gaze to the side and replies that this is the 5th retake. This girl apologizes for asking an unpleasant question to the guy. Her name is Yu Min, and she lives next to this guy. And this year she entered. After our main character in a cap sees that this girl drinks so early, he asks her if she will start her day with this. In response to this, the blonde continues to drink and responds that of course she does that because she doesn't need to pass any exams or anything else. At this moment, our main hero is thinking only about one thing: why such a good-natured and gentle person was so strongly and sharply. Moving into the past of this girl, we see a bright girl who asks the guy if he is going to enroll in a Korean university. Returning to reality, we watch as this girl sits very strangely on a chair. Noticing Suman's gaze, she asks if she is beautiful. Our main hero understands that the exam life requires a person to make maximum use of limited time and stamina. While this girl continues to lead such an easy and calm lifestyle, our hero knows that arguing unnecessarily is a luxury. Our main character's name is Suman, and he is preparing for his 5th retake of the trial test at a Korean university. His goal is to enter Hanguk University. Our main character knows that most of all he should be careful with his desires to give the girls a little ride in his limousine. Unlike most other people, this guy knows that the activity of a limousine, including self-handling his dumbbells, depletes his stamina reserves. After our main hero looks at the hostages of his dumbbells and peaches, he realizes that doing these adult things is just a waste of time. But the very idea of taking a step towards studying wastes the energy that was intended from studying, so it's worth keeping yourself in control of adult thoughts. Our main hero, continuing his walk, understands that it's not for people to decide, of course, but I absolutely don't want to regret it later. Our main hero was simply preoccupied with the idea of becoming the best version of himself in order to become a Giga Chad, so he took unimaginable losses. Suman considered himself a truly terrible person, because for the sake of his goals, he even decided to format his external hard drive. While our main character continued to think that now there was no one else around him who could distract him, we watched as he collided with someone. After our main character had an affair with this girl, she suddenly raised her head and looked at Suman and recognized him. Suman also recognized Ajuma. After this awkward and unexpected confrontation, our main hero immediately looked away again and apologized for being inattentive. However, this girl apparently was not going to leave so easily for our main character. She only told him that she was injured and that he was not injured. A couple of moments after this girl finally moved away from Suman, he noticed her wearing a suit and asked where she was going like that. At this moment, the thoughts of our protagonist were content with the old ones. He was thinking about the still undried waters of the Eastern Sea until Pektusan was erased from the face of the earth. In case anyone didn't understand what this guy just said in his mind, it was the Korean national anthem, which apparently helps him get his bearings. A couple of moments after Suman asks her friend where she is going in a suit, she smiles widely and answers that she is going to an interview. Immediately after this girl tells our main character the purpose of her outfit, she asks him if it suits her. The guy thinks it is so. At this moment, the temptation indicator of our main character grew. He realized that this situation was really risky, but now everything seems to be in order. Next, this girl asked our main character if he was sure of his answer, because she had the feeling that these were clothes from the time when she did not play games with anyone. A couple of moments after this girl says this phrase, the poor button on her shirt cannot withstand the pressure of society and decides to betray this girl. This girl immediately begins to panic because she has never found herself in such a situation before. She wonders what she should do. Suman is thinking about something at this moment. Next, we watch as the level of temptation of our main character soars so high that his headdress falls off his head, and he is in a complete stupor. Next, we move to the personal diary of our main character on the 28th of February. He realizes that he should avoid that girl named Ajuma Soyeon as much as possible. But after the date of our main character's entries in his diary becomes the 1st of March, he realizes that he is now not allowed to leave the room at all. Sumina cannot leave her room because this girl decided to visit our main character. We watched as the guy's mother met Mama. This woman immediately goes to her son's room in order to notify him that they came to visit, and he didn't even leave the room. The girl understands that he is studying. At this moment, our main character is close to his door exiting the corridor, and hearing that the girl understood him, he realizes that she truly has an angelic heart. If that same blonde from the beginning of the manhwa is the daughter of this woman, our main hero does not understand how a mother and daughter can have such different characters. But despite the fact that these two have incredibly different personalities, our main character simply cannot accept the fact that their appearance is very similar to each other. But our main character, in any case, understands that since he is doing homework in his room, it all doesn't matter because he doesn't go anywhere. But it doesn't take long after our main hero decides that he will study hard, because after a couple of moments he immediately falls into a deep sleep. Meanwhile, the woman of that girl told the mother of our main character that her son was retaking the exam again this month. She was wondering why he was doing this. In response to this, the main character's mother replies that she spoke with his father, and if he doesn't get a good grade on the probationary examination, he will go to work in a factory. After this woman hears that such a difficult task is entrusted to the shoulders of our main hero, she says that it would be great if he wrote everything as it should be. But after our main hero's own mother hears a fairly standard wish, she wonders whether her son has at least some talents. This woman continues to tell the woman opposite her how she can even trust our main character, because he will never receive truly normal grades before. After this woman with big eyes hears these words from the guy's mother, she tells her that she does not trust her own son at all and does not believe in him. In response to this, the mother of our main character will answer that, despite the fact that he studies hard, no one has yet been able to believe in his abilities, which perhaps are not there. These words immediately send this girl into her memories. She hears her being asked how they can trust her when she has no work experience at all, because their academy is a serious place. After this girl, remembering a couple of situations from her life, understands how unpleasant our main character can be after how no one can believe in him, she becomes sad. But this girl simply does not intend to leave our main character in such a deplorable situation. She asks his mother, what if she personally prepares the guy for the exams? This girl is motivated by the fact that she is simply sure that our main hero is now very bad because no one can still believe in him. This good-natured woman is simply confident that after Suman finds out that someone is supporting him and rooting for him, his life will definitely improve and he will be happy. But after the mother of our main character went to her son's room to tell him about this girl heard a sharp refusal from our main character. Suman realized that he had finally calmed down, and his mother was going to allow this incredibly beautiful woman to be his repeater, because this would definitely only disturb him. Our main character, after thinking a little, remained in his opinion that this is complete nonsense and there will be absolutely no benefit for him in this, and this is 100%. After Suman realizes that he has to be alone in the same space with this girl, he wonders if his mother is going to beat him to death this way. But a couple of moments after the mother of our protagonist scolded her son, she forced him to accept the offer of this good-natured woman. Despite the fact that our main hero was very afraid to make eye contact with the teacher, he asked her to help him solve one page of the test format. After this woman hears from our main character that he finally asks her for help, she smiles and tells our main character to have a little fun. Next, this girl begins to look at the test page that our main hero was talking about, and immediately informs our main character that to solve it, we need to insert a formula. After this woman finishes solving the problem of our main character, she points to the solution and asks the guy if he would like to solve it in some other way. After a couple of moments, this girl finishes explaining the task to our main hero in as much detail as possible. After she finished, she asks Suman if he understands. At this moment, this girl, looking at our main character, understands that he cannot keep his attention in class and for some reason he has forgotten a lot. After this woman is once again convinced that our main character is not yet ready to cooperate with her, she concludes that he still could not open up to her. This woman understands that she and our main character have been neighbors for more than 20 years, and it was a mistake to think that she got close enough to him. After this girl looked at the embarrassed Suman, she wondered what she should do in order to reduce the gap between them in order to study normally. At this moment, the size of the temptation of our main character most likely breaks all records. He is trying to understand what just touched his leg, and most likely his dumbbell will not withstand it. Every time our main hero finds the strength to look at this woman, he regrets because her every gesture makes his limousine start. Our main hero understands perfectly well that if this woman does not stop this lesson, then his basket at the end of the room will definitely be completely filled that same night. After a couple of moments, this girl decides to put her hands on the shoulders of our main hero and, pulling him a little towards herself, ask him why he can't concentrate. At this moment, this guy is terribly embarrassed because he feels a heavy weight on his shoulders. Ajmama asks him if he feels sleepy and offers him a massage. But after our main hero calls this woman by name, she continues to massage and corrects the guy, saying that she is his teacher and not Ajuma. We continue to watch how this woman becomes closer and closer to our main character. At this moment, this guy is trying to understand why his teacher has such a big heart. After this teacher finally finishes giving her teaching student a massage, she tells him that judging by his appearance, he has perked up so he can study. Our main character at this moment realizes that he really definitely got a little tired, and not only he but also his dumbbell, which was somewhere under the table, became cheerful. Next, this teacher suggests that the main character try to solve an applied problem, which is difficult but worth a try. The guy definitely feels rested. At this moment, our main character becomes fixated on the fact that he suddenly began to feel that strange feeling that made him think that he was not tired and cheerful. Next, Suman began to blush while he was solving a problem. He could not understand why he felt some strange clarity in his head and what this was connected with. After our main character took on the solution to a complex problem, he even managed to remember a very difficult-to-remember formula for exactly the problem that he needed to solve. Our main character could not even imagine why he so suddenly began to study better than in solitude. Looking at the test results, he was convinced that everything was correct.
Even the teacher was surprised after the guy managed to become smarter so dramatically. She asked him how he was able to learn everything in such a short period of time.
At that moment, this woman, looking at our main hero and his new results, understood that everything happened as she thought, and trust and support were able to awaken the guy's potential. But after a couple of moments, this girl thought that the reason for the success of our main character could be her teaching style, which apparently suited this guy. Looking at the test in front of him, our main hero understood that he had become good at studies, but he did not know how he would now have to cope with the huge limousine under his table. After our main hero began to behave so strangely, he attracted the attention of his teacher, so she looked at him very strangely and felt awkward. At this moment, this girl wondered that if it was not the potential of our main character or her teaching methods, then why did this guy suddenly cope with his studies? The teacher of our main hero simply could not help but notice how her student suddenly began to fidget in his chair and simply could not stop. He was completely unable to sit in one place. Immediately after this woman was convinced that our main hero was behaving strangely under the table, she decided that he might have clues, a phone number, or something else. At this moment, our main hero was only thinking that his charged limousine under his table was starting to ache a little. At that moment, the woman called the guy's name to ask something. A couple of moments after this girl decided to ask a question, she asked the guy if the problem was with the thing that was under the table. She meant the phone. After our main hero heard such a frightening phrase, he immediately began to think about what this girl was talking about and what she meant by the thing that was under his table. After a couple of moments, our main character began to shake and asked his teacher what kind of thing she was talking about. Meanwhile, the girl was convinced that the guy was hiding something. After this woman thought that our main hero was cheating, she shouted at him that she is trying her best as a teacher, and he dared to do this to her. Next, this girl tells our main character, if it's really so difficult for him to do this, then he should be honest and just say it to her face without any extra stuff. The woman tells our main character that she is ready to solve his problem. Suman asks the teacher in surprise if she is really ready to solve his problem. This woman has tears in her eyes and smilingly answers our main character that she can definitely help him because this is the job of teachers. But apparently the girl did not understand the real problem. After this teacher was convinced that our main character was actually cheating, she got up from her seat and demanded that the guy quickly pull out the thing that was under his table. Our main hero immediately began to feel even more embarrassed. He answered this girl that he couldn't pull it out because he was very embarrassed when he thought about it. At this moment, this girl was already starting to get angry because she was not at all used to this, and she realized that in such moments when students cheat, she needs to be more confident. This girl understands that inappropriate teaching methods are the most important thing and greatly destroy and spoil the very study of mathematics and other sciences. Meanwhile, our main hero, thinking about something completely different, said that this was not necessary because he was not responsible for it. He meant that this was his first time. A couple of moments after this woman heard the hesitant answer of our main hero, she looked under the table and said that she herself would take responsibility in this case. But after this woman reached under the table towards our main character, in order to pull out the thing with which he was cheating, she did something else. A couple of moments after this girl realized that she had understood everything wrong, and now the limousine of our protagonist was in her hands, an awkward silence hung. Our main character immediately turns away from the teacher, saying that he is very sorry that he tried to hide it because he was afraid that she might misunderstand him. The girl realized that she was taken by surprise. She hadn't seen limousines since Jimin's father, so she panicked. She asked the guy if this was the reason for the guy's fidgeting. Our main hero was terribly embarrassed at that moment, but he found the strength to say that the reason for his behavior really was his dumbbell. Our main hero again asked for forgiveness for the misunderstanding, but still he felt relieved because this is a problem that can really be solved if desired. Immediately after our main character's personal teacher heard that this guy called his problem quite solvable, she looked at him questioningly. Our main character continued by saying that in fact, he has not been able to concentrate on his studies for several months now because of his limousine that craves racing with garages. But after our main hero heard that the teacher could solve his problem, he calmed down sharply, but he realized that he should have reported this earlier. Next, this girl remembered that she told our main character that she would personally take on the solution to his problem, which prevents him from studying hard and well. After the main character's teacher realized in what sense he understood this phrase, she wondered how she could even say this terrible phrase. But a couple of moments after this woman touched our main character's Bugatti, he hinted to her that he was a little sick. The girl immediately jumped back. After our main character's personal teacher abruptly left him, he told her that everything was fine. In his thoughts, he realized that he was rather pleased now. A couple of moments after this woman finally understood what problem she had decided to deal with, she asked the guy why he didn't just watch motivational videos. After this girl asked this question, Suman replied that this was all wasting too much of his time, and so he decided to simply remove the root of all evil. Next, the teacher of our main hero suggested that her student at least try dating. Apparently, she really didn't want to help the guy with his problem. But even to this, our main character has a precise answer. He answered the teacher that having a girlfriend would only be a hindrance during the exam period, because it would also interfere. Immediately after this girl heard that our main leader had his own answer to any other alternative, she laughed awkwardly because we need to somehow maintain the conversation. After that, there was just a terribly awkward situation between these two. Looking to the side, this woman tried to understand what she should do about this awkward atmosphere. After a couple of moments, an idea came to this girl's head. She abruptly stood up from her seat and pretended that she had completely forgotten that she had an important meeting. But our main hero immediately looked towards his teacher, who was about to leave. Apparently, he was not going to let go of the woman who agreed to help him just like that. Next, our main character bowed to his teacher and reminded her that she promised him that she would take responsibility for the problem that prevents him from studying. Immediately after Ajuma saw how upset his student was, she approached him and put her hand on his shoulder, trying to say something to justify herself. But our main character immediately realized that now his train had most likely left, and he would not receive the promised relief from his problems, so he asked the girl to forget about his problem. Next, Suman put his hand on his face and, leaving the teacher behind him, asked her to just leave his room because he intends to continue the learning process alone. After this woman realized that she had driven her own student into such a depressive state, she immediately put her hands on her mouth, realizing what she had done. Despite the embarrassment that our main hero felt, this woman, deep down in her soul, understood that this guy only sincerely really wanted to solve the problem that had been tormenting him for months. But this girl understood that she was really to blame to some extent, because as a teacher, she could not even take responsibility for the words that she said to the student. Continuing to look at our main character, who was simply in a terrible state, she wondered what would happen if Suman got injured due to this incident. At this moment, our main hero simply could not hold back his tears because he acted like a crazy bastard who had just shown his Bugatti to Ajuma Soyeon. Meanwhile, the woman continued to stand behind our main character, judging by her mood. Now she was not going to leave our main character alone with the problem. The woman realized that he still couldn't leave everything to chance, so she abruptly approached our main hero from behind and asked him to wait before he became sad. Ajuma Soyeon understood that she was still a teacher, and a teacher always keeps his word, so she told this guy that she would help him with the problem as promised. Our main hero, to be honest, was very surprised after this woman suddenly decided to change her mind and offer a solution to the problem to this guy. However, this woman was actually very serious. Instead of wasting precious time, she was already slowly approaching our protagonist's Lamborghini. Before she started helping our main character, she reminded him of what she said, that she would take responsibility for his problem, so she would do so. Meanwhile, this woman tried with all her might to convince herself that she was not doing anything like that, because she would simply solve the guy's problem using only her own hands. The woman realized that if, thanks to her help, she could give confidence to our main character, then everything would end with this incident. The guy's face began to change. The woman was immediately surprised after Suman began to feel such emotions so sharply. She told this guy not to worry and leave these problems to the teacher. Continuing to confidently solve the problem of our main character, she told him that he would feel much better after his serious problem was finally solved. Meanwhile, our main hero was very surprised after his personal teacher began servicing his Bugatti. He realized that this was very different from self-service. Our main character simply could not get out of his head the feeling that the warm hands of his teacher created. They embraced his Bugatti very gently and measuredly. Meanwhile, this woman was thinking that she had seen her husband's car, but our main character's Bugatti turned out to be much larger and more expensive than her own husband's. This girl kept wondering if all men were naturally this big. She also realized that she had never done anything like this with her husband, so she was not sure. We watched as this woman continued to solve the problem of our main character with her own hands. It seemed very difficult to her. She assumed that it was because the guy was 20 years old. After a couple of moments, this woman simply could not help but notice that she began to feel some strange feeling of heat, despite the fact that the room was quite cool and even cold. After a couple of moments of war, the emotions of our main character were at their limit. He could no longer contain his pleasure. The woman raised her head and immediately asked the guy if he was okay. Looking at his teacher after his car had been serviced a little, he told the woman that right now he actually feels very good. Immediately after our protagonist's words that he felt very good, this woman looked away and said that after these words she felt relieved. After the process continued, our main character simply could not believe the fact that right now Ajuma Soyeon herself is standing in front of him and giving him a dumbbell massage in his room. At this moment, the personal teacher of our main hero also could not get it out of her head that she felt some strange sensation that was so bright and made her feel good. A couple of moments later, this woman briefly stopped solving the problem of our protagonist in order to tell him that in fact she had not done anything like this since birth. Next, this girl looked piercingly at our main character and asked him if he would understand if she was not good enough at something, as he imagined. This woman continued by telling our main hero that she was really trying. The guy was in complete shock after he heard this line, because before all he did was look at skibidi toilets. Our main hero immediately reassured this woman by saying that this is not so, because she solves his problem quite well. He told her that she really does a very good job. A couple of moments after the frame shifted back to this girl, we watched as the situation between them became hotter and hotter, and apparently, the woman was hungry. At this moment, our main character was only thinking about the breathing of Ajuma Soyeon, which he very sensitively felt with the help of his Bugatti. He understood that it felt very strange. A couple of moments after our main hero noticed a strange sensation on her dumbbell, this girl suddenly turned on the turbo nitro mode, catching the guy by surprise. Immediately after this girl slightly increased the pace of solving the problem, our main character's volcano could not stand it, and a volcanic eruption began straight on the teacher. After our main character realized that he had finished solving his problem so awkwardly, he immediately stood up and began to ask the girl for forgiveness for this because he didn't want to. In response to this, our protagonist's personal teacher began to wipe the magma from her face, telling her personal student that everything was fine and he should not worry.